that the agenda for the November 10th, 2025 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Councillor Blair. Does administration have anything to add?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Anything from council we need to add? Okay, as presented. All those in favor? That's carried. Declaration of conflict of interest. Kylie?
9.2.3.
9.2.3. And just so you're aware, we were looking through the stuff now. So when we declare our conflicts, we also have to explain what our conflict is.
So I explain what it is. It's just a lot tie at my residential property.
Okay, so it's tied to your personal property. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I have one 9.2.4. The business location includes my business in that building. So I will step out for that. And if you missed anything, just let us know when we come up to it. That the minutes of the October 27, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Councillor Vic. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes. Anything irregular there? All look good? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. That the financial reports for November 10th, 2025 be approved as presented. Councillor Stewart. Any questions or comments on the financial report? Look pretty straightforward for us today. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That the reports of senior administrative officials recorded as items 9.1 to 9.2.6 be received and filed. Councillor Blair. All those in favor? That's carried. That the department monthly reports be received and filed. Councillor Vic. And now we will go on and start with the CAO report.
Sure, I don't have a huge report this month. We're working as administration on budget, and we should be able to schedule some meetings with council for December. Work is going well on the budget. We're getting quite far along. Shop out of the country at the end of this month, beginning of December, but there will be no cost to the ratepayers at all. It's just I'll be hopefully bringing back some more ways to utilize their programming. And I've started thinking about ways to do the handover to the new CAO when they come in. Just kind of making some notes and yeah, get ready for that. And I went to some meetings with ministers in Regina with the mayor, but I'm going to let the mayor speak about that. They were very good meetings. Very, very impressed with the meetings. They were great.
Thank you, Michelle. Are there any questions or comments for Michelle? Yes.
I just have one. At your last council meeting at the beginning of October, in your notes, you had said that you were working on the whistleblowers policy. I'm just wanting to know what the update is on that, because nothing was mentioned in this one.
It's going to come to the governance meeting the first week in December, and then it'll come to council.
Perfect.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Michelle. Our next is the operations and engineering with Jamie.
Yeah, I don't have much really to add. I'll take any questions if anybody has anything.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Jamie? The only question I might have is, are we getting real close to coming out for a tour to landfill?
Okay, come anytime.
I think you weren't quite ready there.
We're only waiting for software now. Everything is completed, government inspected. That's all done. Scales registered. just waiting for the software and then we're good to go.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. All right, thank you, Jamie. Next up is the fire department monthly report.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if you would like a tour of the fire hall, you can also come anytime you'd like. I don't think there's a lot that I need to share here. I think between the pictures and the graphs and the updates and sadly all the purple once again, I think it's all pretty much cut and dry. We did start the month with a vehicle fire and we ended the month with a vehicle fire, so it was kind of an interesting month, but nothing too much other than everything that's there. We are, as I've said, I think many times, we are now in uncharted territory. We're at an all-time high for calls.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions or comments for Paul on his report? All right. All those in favor of filing? That's carried. That council hereby authorizes cancellation of check number 35784 payable to Harlan and Linda Monroe in the amount of $9.82, and check number 35535 payable to Carolyn R. Adderley in the amount of $81.96, as recommended by the GM of Corporate Services. Councillor Stewart. And Maria, do you have anything special to say on this one?
No, this is just kind of some basic housekeeping.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Whereas the town of Nipawin is undertaking a parcel tie removal to allow for the subdivision and sale of lands currently tied to property leased by Nipawin and District Regional Park. And whereas part of the subdivision process, a payment in lieu of dedicated land is required to be paid to the rural municipality of Nipawin, number 487. And whereas the removal of the parcel tie will enable the town of Nipawin to market and sell the subject property upon completion of the division. And whereas this is not a budgeted item, therefore be it resolved that council hereby authorizes payment of $3,420 from the utility profit on land sales account 310100803 to the rural municipality of Nipawin, number 487, as recommended by the land planner. Councillor Neudorf. And Jeff, do you have a little bit to add here?
The resolution was fairly all-encompassing. We're wanting to do parcel tie removal, and in order for the province to advance the application, they want to see payment from the town of Nipawin to the Arm of Nipawin for the dedicated lands payment. So this is to accomplish that.
Perfect. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby approves a request to remove a parcel tie between lot 41, block 36, plan 101612078, and lot 34, block 36, plan 66PA12741, as recommended by the land planner. And that council of the town of Nipawin approve a consolidation of the following properties: Lot 41, Block 36, Plan 101612078, Lot 35, Block 36, Plan 66PA12741, and Lot 36, Block 36, Plan 66PA12741, and that all costs of the parcel tie removal and lot consolidations shall be the responsibility of the Roman Catholic Church or applicant. Councillor Vic. And I'll maybe get Jeff to speak on this one.
Absolutely. So this is a parcel tie removal request from the Catholic Church and the applicant. The church owns a lot and a half, and the applicant owns a lot and a half. The half lot is what the church would want to sell to the applicant, giving them 2 full-size lots. The half lot was owned by previous owner of the land before, and they donated it to the church. And then the church was going to cut down the trees, but the applicant was interested in buying the land from the church instead of the trees getting cut down. So that's the parcel tie removal, and then the lot consolidation is a request that's put in at this time, so the applicant knows whether or not that the lot could be consolidated or not if they go through with this purchase. We're recommending that the consolidation be approved based on that the property used to be the ownership of that applicant. The applicant did recently build a garage over their 1.5 lots, so that kind of meets the requirement to build. And that's it.
Are there any questions or comments on this one? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Close this. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You take over.
Okay, I'm looking for someone to move that council hereby agree to not consider discretionary use application 25-34 for a cannabis retail store at this time as recommended by the land planner, and that council hereby approves conducting the first reading of bylaw 1208/25, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 763/2000. So fast. All right, who's speaking to this?
That would be Jeff.
Thank you. So we received an application for a cannabis retail store at the location that's highlighted in green on page 2. So you can see what the areas that are outlined in blue and kind of the red boundaries. Currently, as our zoning bylaw reads, that location would not be eligible to have a cannabis retail store because there are community centers, being the Legion, and 2 businesses that are commercial recreation uses. One's a Pilates class and the other one I believe is a spin studio. So we have those uses as listed in the zoning bylaw as uses that can't be within 50 meters of a cannabis retail store. And so in reviewing what other communities have, they don't have those specific uses as being required things that need to be away from a cannabis retail store. So we put forward the option to not consider the application at this time, but rather start the process of a zoning bylaw amendment to remove those 2 specific uses. Like we would still have schools and parks and daycares as the 50 meters, but we would remove these 2 uses. And then this spot would be eligible for a cannabis retail store.
All right, any questions?
Is there not a daycare right there?
There is a
Councilor
daycare.
Blair?
Yes, there is a daycare on the other side of the Legion.
It moved.
Yeah, it's on the other side of Legion. It's
Yeah.
over 50 meters though. Any other questions?
My
Yours?
concern was the daycare.
Can we,
And I'm not interested in changing the bylaw, period.
I think we allow alcohol use at the Legion, for example, that's, and then cannabis right there. I'm okay with changing the bylaw as long as it protects children, preschool daycares. Yeah. And because we have 2 daycares downtown, that makes it pretty hard to find actual spaces for this type of situation. It would be the same for liquor, am I right? We had a off-sale liquor, or is this just cannabis?
We don't have any requirements through the zoning bylaw for liquor sales. I don't know if SLGA has anything like on their end, but I know we don't have anything in the zoning bylaw.
We thought that years ago.
Yes, there isn't a zoning bylaw for liquor,
No.
but, other than commercial, but if changing, zoning for the priority of just allowing somebody to buy it for a certain business, I have, problems with that because I think I'm perfectly in favor of changing my house into a confectionery right across from the high school. So what would be involved in me doing that?
commercial license. We have to be-
Mhm.
Change the
You're changing the bylaw,
Yeah.
the zoning.
I hear you.
So I think we had put in a lot of thought in the first place when we came up with, what is it, 50 feet or 50 meters?
50
Meters. And even back then, I thought 50 meters wasn't far enough.
No.
There is a daycare that's close by. And yes, there is liquor that is allowed at certain events. However, you're not attracting the kids with everyday sale of cannabis. Liquor isn't sold every day in front of the kids. It's in the backyard,
Basement.
yeah, in the basement.
Any other comments? Counselor Blair?
My concern is that daycare is only 10 meters out of the boundary.
Yeah.
Like the traffic's gonna go, like, to go to this cannabis store, the traffic's gonna walk right by that daycare, cause it's. Just cause that's the way the traffic goes there, but. Yeah, I agree with Joyce, I wouldn't be in favor of changing the bylaw at all for this.
Anybody else wanna weigh in?
I think that, times are changing. And I am in favor of amending the bylaw so that the business can reapply under more modern rules, given where we are in the world. I looked at I don't know if this is the appropriate conversation, but I looked at the proposal from the business, and I don't think there's any work, the business, the storefronts, what they're looking to do, I think it's, to me, it would be an acceptable use of the facility, and I don't think that there's any threats to the daycare, given what they're trying to do, so that's my.
To weigh in on it. I think Melford has 150 meters, and when we looked at that for Nipawin many, many moons ago, it would basically mean all of downtown really has,
Yeah.
there's not very many areas because of the 2 daycares that we have downtown. I don't know, remember why we kept it.
Well,
Yeah.
part of the discussion at that time was that the police wanted it closer to the downtown area so that they can
Yeah.
maintain the power of checking it out and making sure it's all okay.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes we have to get with times and things like that. However, is the times for everybody and children? If we want to ensure that we don't have the mental health or the drug addictions going forward, should we not be promoting a safer community and environment? So, you can't advertise cigarettes for that very reason.
So to bring us back to the question, the recommendation is to not consider discretionary use application, right? But also to conduct first reading of bylaw. So there's 2 things on this, right? Do we have to separate them?
Mhm.
That's honestly what, because these are obviously 2 different questions, right? So,
Or you can do the first reading and defeat it. That's an
Well, I
option.
can't vote on this period. Because the first part I agree with, the second part I do not.
so Councillor Fast, maybe we need to remove the first reading bylaw, and since you made this motion, we can just vote on, if it's okay with you, that council hereby agrees to not consider discretionary use application 25-34 for a cannabis retail store at this time, as recommended by the land planner. Were you okay with removing the bottom part of this?
Sure, I guess, is this going to be, what happens to the bottom part of this?
That's a good question. We could bring it up as another comment, or we could, what can we do there?
Well, if you're taking it off, then you're not agreeing to do first reading to the bylaw amendment at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you remove that section, then
Okay, Councillor Vic?
So I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. So if that was a person applying for a bar, we'd change that because it's socially acceptable in our minds. And getting with the times, leaning toward Councillor Fast on that. We probably don't need another bar. We probably don't need another cannabis shop either.
Okay,
However, it's there.
It's a free enterprise.
Exactly.
And Council Newdorf, did you weigh in?
No, I haven't.
Do you want to weigh in before I call the question?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I-
then I'm just gonna go ahead and call the question. We'll see what happens, all right?
I want to record it vote.
Okay. Don't make this hard on me, right?
And we're leaving it as is.
That's being left as is,
Okay.
right? So to be clear, I'll reread it all, right? That council hereby agrees to not consider discretionary use application 25-34 for a cannabis retail store at this time as recommended by the land planner. And that council hereby approves conducting the first reading of bylaw 1208/25, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 763/2000. All those in favor? And opposed? So it's 5 for the motion, against. And the recorded vote, were you able to get it, or do I have to write down everyone's name on here?
It's okay, we got it.
I'll just go against here. And so it's carried. Did that, right? Back to you. Resume the chair.
Thank you. That council hereby agrees to consider discretionary use application 25-35 for a year-round shelter as an accessory discretionary use to a community center as recommended by the land planner, and that administration be authorized to conduct public advertisements, including mailing letters within a 75-meter radius and 1-week newspaper advertisement, and that a public hearing shall take place November 24th, 2025 to hear representation for or against the development. Councillor Vic. And we'll maybe let Jeff speak to this a bit.
Thanks. We received an application from the Oasis to have a year-round shelter, which is how, not quite how they've been operating. They were operating as an emergency only shelter. This would allow them to operate that same style of shelter, but on a year-round basis and when they have the staffing. They're going to be applying for some grants, and what they were asking is that this be considered at this time, even though they're not interested in building right away. It would help in their grant applications. They supplied everything like plans and a lot layout to give a review of the zoning bylaw. There didn't appear to be anything out of so we were able to consider it if council wants, and then go ahead with public advertisements. And then I'd create a report to give final, I guess, approval with conditions for council to deny it at the 24th meeting.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions or comments on this application? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees to consider discretionary use application 25-36 for a multi-unit dwelling as recommended by the land planner, and that administration be authorized to conduct public advertisements, including mailing letters within a 75-meter radius and 1-week newspaper advertisement, and that a public hearing shall take place November 24th, 2025 to hear representation for or against the development, and that council hereby denies a 5-year tax-free period and encourages the applicant to apply under the community investment incentive, and that no tax-free period will be provided during renovations. Councillor Newdorf. And Jeff.
Yes, last one. The applicant is interested in purchasing the Ukrainian Orthodox Church on 10th Avenue West and turning it into a multi-unit or like a threeplex. So that is the application. Again, it would be the same kind of thing. We would put the advertisement in the newspaper and mail out letters. In regards to zoning, the building meets all the zoning requirements to be a multi-unit dwelling. They do have to provide 5 parking spaces on the property. The applicant has proposed a site plan that has 6 parking spaces, so they're meeting parking. They've provided a landscape plan that shows they'd be keeping the trees to the south and removing some of the trees immediately in front of the church building for the parking space. But, everything is complying, so I think we can go ahead with this one.
Do we have any questions or comments on this one, Jeff?
So one question, I think I know the answer, but just gotta make sure. There's not anybody buried in that land, is there?
No, we took ownership, or we were maintaining cemetery that used to be part of that church right by Woodlawn.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's all I need to know.
How about in the church?
That might be.
Cause that happens.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Not
No,
that
just,
you're aware.
just a question on what is the size of the units?
The intent is to have 1 in the basement and 2 upstairs. I don't recall what the exact sizes were.
They fall within that,
They do, yeah.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. We've got no reports. That communications recorded as item 12.1 be received and filed. Counselor Vic. Has everybody had a chance to read through that correspondence? A little bit interesting. It's kind of nice when we actually get responses from people when we send letters, so.
Measurable.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. One bylaw. That bylaw number 1208/25 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 763/2000, the zoning bylaw, be introduced and read a first time. Counselor Stewart. So open that up. And is there anything to add, Michelle, or?
No, no, I have nothing to add.
I still have the same concerns. And I want a recorded vote as well.
Okay.
Okay.
That.
Yep, I'll just. Okay, so this is just the first read.
Just one question on the bylaw. When we talk about how many meters they have to be away from, we're removing those other ones, but I looked at Melford and they were up to 150 meters. Is that something that's plausible to do and meters away from a
Yeah,
daycare?
it could be, yeah. Right now we're at 15 meters for all of our uses, but I guess it depends what, kind of setback we wanna have.
Like I said, I'm okay with removing certain things from there, but the reason why we only chose 50 meters many years ago was because downtown it was hard to get anything, mostly because of that recreational usage. But the daycares is what concerns me, so maybe at this time we should consider going a little bit more than 50 meters from the daycares.
That could be looked at. I could provide, I guess, I know Melfort is 150. I don't know what Humboldt is, I could look, and I could check some other communities for distances as well.
So 150 meters right now, I'm pretty sure that this one would be,
In the pool.
well, I'm just talking about the existing.
Oh, yeah.
There's a daycare right over here.
On
Yeah.
Center Street.
So
Yeah.
it kinda isn't gonna fly because unless we grandfather that, then we don't grandfather this one.
No, we set the bylaw in terms, we remove those things, set it at 100 meters or whatever we decide. And if it doesn't fit the criteria, it still doesn't go.
Well,
doesn't fit the
then.
criteria.
Oh, no, I mean the ones that exist right now.
The
They
two
would
cannabis
no longer
shops,
fit the
Yeah.
criteria.
They would no longer, they'd be,
they're
they'd be on the
15 minutes.
cusp, I bet ya.
Oh, that's a ways away, 50 meters.
450, 500 feet.
Sorry, I would have to look into it, but I think if they were approved under the old bylaw, that they would be grandfathered in.
But
But
100
you
or 100.
can't grandfather one in
No.
and
Yeah, we
then
can't change.
delete the other one. And you're, being willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But they have to be further than 150 meters away from a daycare, those other ones, right?
The one may not be, the one on the corner.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Especially as a girl.
Might not be able to go to 150, maybe it's only 100 then. That's why I asked, is it plausible that we even go to 150 meters? Is there even a place left for them to go? So I think we ran into that before.
Go ahead, Joyce.
My other question is, has this gone to the operations committee or the governance committee? I haven't seen it in the notes. And this is the second time a bylaw has come to us without us seeing it first through committee. We could have these discussions prior to.
Since operations committee coming up on
13th.
13th,
days,
few days.
send it there.
I think there were some circumstances where if meetings weren't happening in a timely fashion, we were talking about allowing them to come to council rather than waiting for some of those committee meetings.
You just had a governance meeting not too long ago, so if this was on the radar, it should have been brought up then, or
This came up after.
it doesn't matter if you had plans on changing the community centers and commercial recreation, it should have been discussed in the committee meetings. That's what council's here for.
Jeff?
Just looking at this, I'd like to see us put in and consider looking at the meterage, 50 meters, 100 meters and 150 meters as part of the section, right? Right now, we're talking about removing community centers and commercial recreation uses, which I agree with, but I think we gotta look at the total meterage. Is 50 meters isn't very far. So,
I can just say the request that came for the discretionary use, that is a time sensitive.
There are other buildings uptown too.
yeah,
Where Pet Valley is right now was going to be a daycare center, and because there's a cannabis store right there, they couldn't set it up. However, there's a bar right across the street.
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm just going by.
it's good point.
maybe.
So
they'll
that's
think-
there, that's where I'm going with that, because there's far better risk and chance of something happening from someone staggering out of the bar.
Or driving off the railroad.
You're right. So that's where I'm going. That's why I'm edging with the other, because it's just picking it up and leaving.
All I'm
It's not
saying is we look at
consuming
what
right there.
50 meters, 100 meters and 150 meters would look like.
I would like to see that as
And
well,
then,
just to
then
see
we can make a
where,
decision on it.
where that puts the current ones, that maybe we can increase the distance a little bit moving forward. If we're gonna be revising this bylaw anyway, we might as well revise all parts that we maybe are wanting to.
Because if we went to 150 meters, like we got the dance hall right there, and there's definitely would be within range of that. So
Well,
community
that's
commercial.
what I mean. If
Yeah.
we're expanding those, so
Just a thought.
So with the discussion I'm hearing, we do have a operations committee meeting on Thursday. Would that be something you want to see this maybe tabled for now, send it to operations, bring it back to council in 2 weeks?
Yeah, if it's good, we can go through all the readings, so it's not going to slow anything down.
Yeah, it just causes, there's a slight delay to the situation. Jeff?
As the zoning bylaw change, we'd have to advertise in the newspaper for 2 weeks and it'd have to go to Twin Lakes.
Yeah.
Just-
yeah, that's what
That's
I don't get. that.
Twin Lakes
That
is
part.
we gotta
the
change
week
that.
after,
Yeah, we sure do.
What date? Sorry?
the Wednesday after the operations meeting, so
So the
it
19th?
can go to Twin Lakes.
So it could still make it to that next council meeting,
Mhm.
okay? And so after that, after the council meeting, then it would go to the advertising, correct, Jeff?
So if we pass first, it allows us to advertise, basically.
Right.
Wouldn't be a bad thing to do. Then
So
we get-
do we want to? Sorry, go ahead.
Last item of comment, I guess, so from the existing, like, this is a rough measurement, but it's pretty close. From the existing cannabis retail store to the daycare that is next to the post office, it is like just under 100 meters or right at 100 meters. From the daycare that is next to the Legion, it is 99 meters, again, just under 100 meters to the proposed location. Just for, to put it out there.
God, forget I said it. You can't build anything downtown with that, right?
Well, that's.
No.
Nothing says,
Yeah,
so just too far. Strict my stuff, just go with this.
Okay,
There we go.
so we've got it the way it sits here. Any other questions or comments? So we'll vote on approving it right now. I'm just gonna read it one more time myself. Right? All those in favor? And opposed?
And you're recording that, right?
Oh, did you call for a recorded vote?
Yes.
You did,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Then I should write that on here.
Against our councilors Watson.
Okay, so. Okay, so at a vote of 5-2, it is carried. I have it recorded in the minutes. All right, next we'll go on to the round table and we'll start with Les today.
Okay, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Meeting wise, I don't think there was anything going on meeting wise. I apologize for missing the meeting 2 weeks ago as we partook in the fall supper and I think it didn't agree with us, so I wasn't able to make that meeting. Traveled to Edmonton last weekend and to see reconnect with some family. Got to see a hockey game, that was cool. Other than that, I think that's about what happened since the last meeting.
Thank you, Les. And Stacy.
I haven't got much to report. It's pretty boring like others.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. I'm gonna just move mine to the end. Mine's a little bit longer today. Jeff?
Not too much to report. I guess I went to the E for the Legion. I don't know if that's council or just me. I go that every year. Yeah,
That's a bit of both.
It's a little bit of both, right? So, no, I usually go every year regardless. So anyways, it's not too much. I spent a long time reading that document, so my eyes went crossed again. That's it for me.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Joyce?
There wasn't too much for meetings per se, but I did go to Hudson Bay for their trade show and it was actually the town of Hudson Bay that put it on. Here it's the Lions, right? So it was a different kind of crowd and it was really good. They had the local radio station there. And you were asking earlier about advertisement before the meeting, how that affects everything. My daughter was on the radio saying something and somebody came in from the truck that they're driving to check out the hot sauce and then left again. So, and he heard it on the radio, so.
Advertising works.
It does.
Thank you, Joyce. Lisa?
Yeah, not much for meetings for me and some strategic planning reading. So that's it. I just would like to mention, I attended the Lions show as well on the weekend. And with Remembrance Day coming up tomorrow, everyone's got their puppies on today. I just encourage everyone to make their way to the ceremonies tomorrow. And thank all our veterans that are, to echo Jeff's comment, the banners all look really great around town, and I think it's an important time for us to reflect and remember, and I will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, be careful when you're driving, like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's again, how many accidents like cars are almost
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Lisa. And Kylie?
I haven't had anything for meetings since the last council meeting either. One thing I just wanted to comment on is my daughter was in the Haunted Hollows as part of the scarers, and she commended everybody on how fantastic it was. I heard really, really good things about it. Lots of people didn't make it through apparently, that it was so scary. I didn't go because I had my 11-year-old at home and he's not quite brave enough yet. But yeah, I heard it was really good and a huge turnout. So just wanted to, say good job for
Mhm.
Chelsea and her team and the drama club for doing that. So it sounded like it was a big hit in town. So,
Perfect, thank you very much. I'll echo that. I heard a lot of good things actually about the Haunted Hollows and stuff, so. So myself, on November 1st, I did attend, as Jeff did, the Legion Poppy Tea. And it was nice to sit around and just have some visits and conversation in the community. November 3rd, I went on the NEOS Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. So there were probably 40 or so people there showed up. So that was good to see that support. The 5th and 6th, we had Michelle and I attended to Regina to meet with some ministers. I'll give an update on that at the very end here. November 7th, I attended Wagner School and LP Miller School Remembrance Day programs. And on November 8th was the Indigenous Veterans Day. So attended a few of those programs. So on to the ministers' meetings. On November 5th, we met with the Minister of Trade and Export Development. That's Minister Warren Keating. And I will say before I talk about it, everything in total, these were probably the most productive discussions that I've had in 2 years. They were very good meetings to be had. So, so some things that were discussed was the Prairies Can funding opportunities. So Michelle's going to be working with administration on some of that. And then some key areas of development that he suggested that we investigate. Small to medium data centers. Due to our connection to the river, they require a lot of cooling and direct access to power, which is something we have in abundance. So there's lots of opportunity coming in the next few years on that. The next one, nuclear and SMR Generation 4 technology. So currently most of the SMRs in the province are Generation 3, and Generation 4 requires less water, less cooling, and they're safer. So they're always moving forward on that. The one thing that the minister said is it's not if, but when for Nipawin. They're looking at it, it'll likely be here because of our distribution chain. Probably in the 8 to 10 year time frame.
That's exciting.
They also talked about defense-based businesses. They were targeted in the federal budget. So when we're looking for economic development opportunities, defense-based businesses will be experiencing a little bit of growth, and we could look at that for our area. Also said we should watch energy projects such as the Thor project. So that's the mine just north of Tisdale. Another one he mentioned was Max Power. So some of you guys may have seen the notice out to the west towards Choiceland. We also talked about some grant funding. So there has been a lot of federal housing money put into the budget this year. So we're going to be looking at opportunities to try to stay on top of that to see how that will affect us in terms of our housing growth. That's definitely part of our strategy here. And then we talked about the 2 CHIF grants as well. Another thing we touched on was tourism within Canada. So he said, you need to increase your tourism advertising into Eastern and Atlantic Canada. Canadians are choosing to travel within the country more and more right now, and less into the US. So, which is perfect. Then he talked about regional airport being a good opportunity for tourism, but also it affects corporate travel a lot more now as well. It's being more and more prevalent. And included in that is some of our local businesses, their companies have corporate jets that land in Yorkton, and from Yorkton travel here. And there's a lot of potential for them to be landing right here. So In short, we're in a prime position to become a major hub in the central northeast area. He believes it. He believes we're moving in the right direction. So after, as well on the 5th, I had another meeting with the Minister of Highways, Minister Dave Merritt. This was mostly just kind of some updates and touching base on a few things that we've already been working on. So the first one, the speed zone reduction, we hadn't gotten any confirmation back from them yet. They have now received everything they need, so it should be completed soon. We'll see that signage getting changed out. Got a bit of an update and talked about Highway 55, and he suggested at this point now as well, we should be looking at ways to reach out with the Minister of Highways from Manitoba and bringing some working groups together to improve advocacy on that highway in general. So that'll include groups like the Gateway Q8 and Corridor Group and things like that. So I actually, just before we left town, I had a request from a resident on a Highway 35 update. So that's the highway to Prudence Point, Carroll's Cove area. I know they rebuilt it up to the curve, but that area after the curve is still pretty bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. So we did find out that the RM of Torch River, as well as the Village of White Fox, has also been reaching out. So it looks like that could be added to a mid-range plan within the ministry, which puts it at about 3 to 4 years, I believe. The last thing we talked about was just a potential. It was in our traffic plan years ago about the truck route change to Old Highway 35 and Nipawin Road West. I know there's a lot of discussion around that road being not strong enough and definitely having some issues before it ever happened that way, but it's something that they've also kind of had on a little bit of information on. The minister did advise us that their staff within the ministry would potentially be able to assist us in engineering that entire project. So that's kind of a thing that he was willing to bring to the table right away, is the engineering side.
Paying for the engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not
Not the road.
which is about 20 million or something.
So, no, it's huge. That would be a huge undertaking. Nuts.
Yeah.
And then on November 6th, I had a meeting with the Minister of Justice. That's Minister Tim McLeod. We talked about the announced changes that they brought to the SCAN program. Also took that opportunity to thank them for all the work that SCAN program has brought into Nipawin. It's really made a big difference here. We talked about the bail reform changes that are needed at the federal level. I know it's not a provincial thing, but they are continuing to advocate for those changes, and I told him that we are in full support of that. We discussed the crime reduction team and marshals and how to best utilize them. So if we start seeing things like increased gang activity and things like that, we can, through the RCMP, have them reach out and bring those teams in. And our local RCMP have done that in the past and had success with it. He also talked about in a few other communities, they have a doorbell or camera registry program. So if a crime happens in a specific area of town, they have a registry list where they can go to people and say, hey, something's happened in this area. You might have some footage. Do you mind if we get access to it? So just to help, potentially get ahead of some of these crimes and see what they can do. We continue to push the community to report every single crime as well. That was a big thing. Keep getting them to report it. Posting it on Facebook isn't enough. We need the numbers and the statistics so that they can push for additional officers in the area. So that kind of covers the topics that we had. So it was a busy couple of days, but very, very productive in terms of some of the information. I especially was impressed with the meeting with Trade and Export. That was very surprising to hear. So, and the economic corridor, I think, is going to be a big thing for us in the future. So that's everything I've been working on. So, all right, that the regular council meeting of November 10th, 2025 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 122A of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under Section 16, Advice from Officials at 7:54 PM. Counselor Bass. All those in favor?